When Jesus spoke to his disciples about the kingdom of heaven, he often reminded them that it was not only about believing, but also about being ready. He wanted them to live each day with watchfulness, with hearts prepared for his return, because no one knows the hour or the day. In Matthew chapter 25 verses 1 to 13, he told them a story. The kingdom of heaven will be like this. Once there were 10 young women who took their oil lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, while the other 5 were wise. The foolish ones took their lamps, but did not take any extra oil with them, while the wise ones took containers full of oil for their lamps. The bridegroom was late in coming, so they began to nod and fall asleep. It was already midnight when the cry rang out, "Here is the bridegroom, come and meet him." The 10 young women woke up and trimmed their lamps. Then the foolish ones said to the wise ones, "Let us have some of your oil, because our lamps are going out." "No, indeed," the wise ones answered, "there is not enough for you and for us. Go to the store and buy some for yourselves." So the foolish ones went off to buy some oil. And while they were gone, the bridegroom arrived. The 5 who were ready went in with him to the wedding feast, and the door was closed. Later the others arrived. "Sir, sir, let us in." They cried out. "Certainly not. I don't know you," the bridegroom answered. And Jesus said, "Watch out then, because you do not know the day or the hour." This story reminds us that being ready is not something we can borrow from others at the last moment. Our faith, our obedience, our relationship with Christ must be prepared and personal. In Matthew chapter 24, verses 45 to 51, Jesus asked his disciples, "Who then is the faithful and wise servant? It is the one that the master has placed in charge of the other servants to give them their food at the proper time. How happy that servant is if his master finds him doing this when he comes home. Indeed, I tell you, the master will put that servant in charge of all his property. But if he is a bad servant, he will tell himself that his master will not come back for a long time. And he will begin to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with drunkards. Then that servant's master will come back one day when the servant does not expect him and at a time he does not know. The master will cut him in pieces and make him share the fate of the hypocrites. There he will cry and gnash his teeth." This parable reminds us that faithfulness is shown in everyday obedience, in caring for others, and living as if the master could return at any moment. Watchfulness is not only about waiting, it is about serving well until he comes. In Luke chapter 12 verses 13 to 21, Jesus was teaching when someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide with me the property our father left us." But Jesus answered him, "Friend, who gave me the right to judge or to divide the property between you two?" And he went on to say to them all, "Watch out and guard yourselves from every kind of greed, because your true life is not made up of the things you own, no matter how rich you may be." Then he told them this parable. There was once a rich man who had land which bore good crops. He began to think to himself, "I don't have a place to keep all my crops. What can I do? This is what I will do," he told himself. "I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, where I will store the grain and all my other goods. Then I will say to myself, 'Lucky man, you have all the good things you need for many years. Take life easy, eat, drink, and enjoy yourself.' But God said to him, 'You fool! This very night you will have to give up your life. Then who will get all these things you have kept for yourself?' And Jesus concluded, This is how it is with those who pile up riches for themselves, but are not rich in God's sight. Here Jesus warns us that readiness is not about storing earthly treasures, but being rich toward God. Life can end suddenly, and only what we have done for the kingdom will matter. In Luke chapter 14 verses 15 to 24, while at another meal, a man sitting at the table with Jesus said to him, "How happy are those who will sit down at the feast in the kingdom of God." Jesus said to him, "There was once a man who was giving a great feast to which he invited many people. When it was time for the feast, he sent his servant to tell his guests, 'Come, everything is ready.' But they all began, one after another, to make excuses. The first one told the servant, 'I have bought a field and must go and look at it. Please accept my apologies.' Another one said, 'I have bought 5 pairs of oxen and am on my way to try them out. Please accept my apologies.' Another one said, 'I have just gotten married, and for that reason I cannot come.' The servant went back and told all this to his master. The master was furious and said to his servant, 'Hurry out to the streets and alleys of the town and bring back the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame.' Soon the servant said, 'Your order has been carried out, sir, but there is room for more.' So the master said to the servant, 'Go out to the country roads and lanes and make people come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you all, that none of those who were invited will taste my dinner." This parable reveals that readiness also means responding to God's invitation without delay. Many turn away because they are too busy with their possessions, their work, or their personal lives. But God calls the humble, the broken, and those who are willing to come. Through all these stories, Jesus is telling us one thing: be ready. Watch, be faithful, live each day as if the Master could return tonight. Do not be distracted by greed, or lulled into complacency, or too busy with life to answer his call. The kingdom is prepared, and those who are ready will enter with joy.